Hey everybody, welcome to Stronger Moves. This is a class focused on helping you build some strength that you can apply to activities in your everyday life. Today we're really going to focus on some balancing standing work, also lengthening out the hamstrings and building stability and strength in the legs and quads. This is great if you are a human being who stands ever. So most of you will really get something out of this class. This is a free class. If you would like to make a donation, you're welcome to follow the link in the description to my Patreon. There's also a link in there for a Spotify list if you would like some music. I know personally I usually like to listen to some music while I'm practicing. Other than that, not too much for props today. Make sure you have 2 blocks and your blanket. And once you've got all of that together and any music that you want to listen to, go ahead and continue this video. All right, once you're settled, let's start off in a comfortable seat. So if you have tight hips, tight lower back, sitting up on a blanket or a block might be the best situation for you. Otherwise, just sitting wherever is comfortable. If you can cross your legs, great. If you can't, really seriously do whatever feels most comfortable in your body. So hands on the knees and allow your eyes to close. Start to take a moment just to arrive on your mat. Whatever time of day you might be doing your practice, taking everything else that's happening in your day and setting it to the side of your mat. It will still be there when your practice is over. But for the next hour, can you let all of that just be? And allow your mind to have some space. Allow your body to start to have a little bit more voice. And as you're sitting here, just noticing what you feel in your body. Giving your body the opportunity, the platform to speak to you. If you took the August restorative moves class already, you might be thinking about what's happening at the lower part of the rib cage, noticing if there's any tension in the lower back, and maybe allowing the rib cage to settle back just a little bit to alleviate some of the tension in the low back. Noticing how that might bring some more weight to your sit bones. Might even alleviate some of the tension in the neck and shoulders. And then starting to think about your practice today. So as I mentioned earlier, we're really going to be focusing on balance. This is something that a lot of us struggle with. Not having great balance through our legs can lead to difficulties all through the body. It can lead to all sorts of crazy movement compensations. So today we're just going to work on gaining some better awareness of our body and standing. And that can start with sitting. So that can start here, noticing what's happening to the body, just trying to be upright from the pelvis up. On your next inhale, we're going to circle the arms up to the sky, finding length through both sides of your body, relaxing the shoulders as the fingertips reach up. And then bring your hands together and down to heart center. If you have any kind of intention you would like to bring to your practice today, go ahead and bring that into the front of your mind. And if that's not something that you do, that's fine too. Just take another moment here to be in your body. Allow your hands to come down to your knees and slowly open the eyes. To warm up our body today, we're going to start off in a comfortable seat with our butt on the floor and the feet out in front of us. Now my feet are about shoulder width apart. Depending upon the floor that you're on, you may want some cushioning for your pelvis. So my floor tends to be a little bit hard. I'm going to take my blanket, I'm going to unfold it just a little bit, and I'm going to place that underneath my pelvis, just to give a little bit more cushion. If you don't need that, that's fine too. Okay, so my feet are out about shoulder width apart. I'm going to take both arms and reach them forward. And as I reach forward, I'm going to round my back over my knees a bit. I'm not relaxing down onto my knees, but I am thinking about scooping the belly in a little bit towards the back, drawing the bottom of the rib cage in, and stretching the arms forward. And as we do this, hopefully you feel a little bit of a stretch up through the side body here. And then we're going to scoop the belly, start to roll the spine back, coming into our half roll back position here. And let's take a second to think about this. So what I'm doing is I'm thinking about opening up from my hips to find my round back. My lower back is gently rounded, but you'll notice I'm not crouched and hunched forward in my upper back, right? I want to try to keep that chest lifted, and I'm focusing on the round coming from my belly as much as possible. Arms are reaching forward. Take one more moment just to feel the position here. Maybe try to wiggle your feet. See if you can relax your legs a bit to relax those hip flexors. And then take yourself forward again. We're going to do that a couple more times. As you exhale, scoop the belly round back. Keep the shoulders wide. And then inhale, take it forward. Reach past your toes. Exhale, belly button draws in, shoulders wide, neck long. Inhale, reach forward. 2 more. Exhale to come back. And I imagine as though I'm pulling something away from that wall in front of you with my arms as I come back. And then it's pulling me forward as I come to my knees. 1 more time. Exhaling back, feeling the abs gently warming up here. Inhaling to reach forward. Now, one more option as we're doing this, if you're noticing that your hips are starting to cramp, you can take one of those blocks and put it on its low or mid or low setting. Put your legs out straight in front of you and give the block a gentle squeeze. You can keep your knees a little bit soft here, and you can do the same thing from this position as we do from the knees bent. You won't go back as far. It's okay if your legs slide a little bit, but you should feel that your inner thighs engage more, your belly engages more, and your hip flexors don't engage as much. So this is an option for the rest of the sequence as well. Okay, so we are now either here with our knees bent, feet flat on the floor, or our feet are holding the block. I'm going to demonstrate with my feet holding the block for this one. Take a breath in, exhale, belly button draws in, roll the spine back. If you've got the block, squeeze it between the feet. Lift the arms up to the sky without moving the upper body at all. Inhale, lower the arms down. Exhale to lift the arms up. Inhale to bring it down. Exhale, lifting up. Inhaling down. 4 more, reaching up, keeping the neck nice and relaxed. The chin is drawn in and the back of the neck is long. The legs are really trying to stay out of this as much as possible. So I'm really trying to focus on all of that stability from my abdominals. 3 more. Reach it up and down. 2 more, almost there. Reach it up and down. 1 more time, reaching up. Now we're going to go forward. Whew. Reach to the legs. Take a stretch forward for a second. Breathe. And then start to roll the spine back up to sitting tall. Okay, we're going to keep adding on to this. So now we're going to start to take this into a little bit of a twisting motion. Okay, so with this, you have the option to add in your second block if you would like to make this more challenging. But you absolutely don't have to do that. So I'll show you guys both options. So to start with, I'm sitting up tall and I'm gently going to hold onto the block, or my feet are flat on the floor, either way. I'm going to sit up, reaching the arms forward, scoop the belly and roll back, Now, this time, instead of reaching my arms up, I'm going to take my left arm, drop it down towards the floor, and that's going to open my chest to the left. So the time my left hand hits the floor, I should really be having my chest about 45 degrees. My right hip is staying down though. This hip doesn't get to lift with me. I'm going to keep reaching with that left arm to open my chest to the left. Belly stays drawn in, ribs stay drawn in, okay? It helps sometimes to think about, if you've got your legs straight, the left leg reaching down, and that will help you keep your pelvis square. And then scoop that left arm forward and come back up to sitting, okay? So we'll do that together. We're going to alternate side to side. If you would like to use the block, you're going to hold it out in front of you. As you come back, you'll round. Keep the block there with one hand and just open with the other hand for now, and then come back up to center, okay? So let's go all together now. We've got a block between the feet, or our feet are flat on the floor, arms reaching forward. Take a breath in. As you exhale, draw the belly button in, roll the spine back. Let's start to the left. Left arm drops, chest starts to rotate, left arm reaches back, and my chest is rotated to the left, left leg reaching long. Roll through center and lift back up. Exhale, belly button draws in, open the right arm, twist to the right, bring the right arm down, roll back to center, and lift all the way up to sitting. Okay, we're going to go a little faster now. Exhale, back and open. Inhale, forward, lift. Exhale, back and open to the right. Inhale, forward, lift. Exhale, back and open. Make sure that it's a rotation more than a reach, and lift up. Exhale to the right, back and open, and lift. 2 more each side. Exhale, left, and up, and right, and up. 1 more each side. Exhale, back, and lift, and right. Bring it back up. All right, this next one we're all just going to do together. So same thing with the feet. You can hold on to the blocks, or the feet can be flat on the floor. Second block, optional. You can use it or not. I'm going to show you with the block. Reach the arms forward, sitting up tall. Exhale, scoop the belly in, roll the spine back. Inhale, lift the arms. Now stay here for a moment. There's a tendency when we lift the arms to want to fall into yourselves. Don't do that. Lift your heart up, keeping your back round, and feel how much more fun you get to have now. Now we're going to twist the spine to the left and lower the block down to the left side, and lift it back up, come to center. Opposite side, exhale, twist to the right, lower the block to the right. Both hips are staying grounded. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, left, lower as you twist. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale to the right, lower as you twist. Now make sure that your ribs aren't shifting away from the direction you're twisting. Inhale, lift. Exhale, keep those ribs centered in line with your hips, length through both sides of the waist as you twist, and lift. Exhale, rotate to the right, and twist. You should be feeling those obliques working, having a little party in your core. Exhaling to the right. Inhale, lift. Let's go 1 more each side. Exhale, left. Inhale, up. Exhale, right. Inhale, up. Exhale, take it forward. Let your knees bend. Find a forward fold stretch for a moment. Roll your spine back up to sitting. Great. Let's take both of our blocks. We're going to put them at the front of our mat. If your knees are a little bit sensitive, I would definitely recommend keeping that blanket under your knees. Coming up onto hands and knees first, and the blocks are just out in front of me. I'm not going to worry about them quite yet. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, start to lift your belly button, round it up to the sky, finding cat stretch. Really focus on drawing those ribs in first and pressing through the arms and knees second. And then start to lower through the belly, lengthen the tailbone out, reach the heart forward, find your cow pose. Let's do that a couple times. Exhale, belly button lifts, round the spine, that fine cat. Inhale, lengthen the heart forward, reach the tailbone back. A little bit of resistance from the upper part of the core. So I don't want to hinge at my lower back. I want to find length with a little bit of support from my abs. Okay, 2 more. Exhaling, cat. Inhaling to lengthen forward. And then all the way out into cow. 1 more. Exhale, belly button lifts, find your cat. And inhale, lengthen the tailbone back, heart forward, cow pose. And back to neutral. Okay, so nice long line with the spine. Take your right leg, we're gonna step it back. Toes are tucked. And first, just rock forward and back a little bit here, finding a gentle stretch through the back of that right calf. Just a couple times. Also working on keeping the spine neutral, so we're feeling a little bit what it feels like to hinge at the shoulders. And bring the right knee back in. Left leg steps back. Same thing again, rocking forward and back, gently stretching out through the back of that left calf. And bring the left knee back down. We're going to do a little glute work here. So I'm going to reach my right leg back again to start. And then I'm going to lift that leg up, trying to bring it parallel with the rest of the body. There's a tendency as we lift that leg for the back to want to hinge. So really make sure those abs are staying active and involved. And just holding that right leg there for a moment. Find length through both sides of your waist so that you're not side bending. And then bring that right knee down. Same thing on the left side. I'm going to reach my left toes back and then float the leg up, trying to keep everything else exactly where it is, keeping the upper abs involved, length through both sides of the body. And then bring the left knee down. Okay, right side, I'm going to reach it back again, lengthening out through the back of the leg, and then bend the knee. Think about keeping the thigh really lifted. Bend the knee, fold the ankle, so I'm flexing the ankle, and squeeze that right heel towards your glute. Feel your hamstring and glute all work. Feel your abs have to work so you don't get to drop into your back to do this. You're keeping your spine supported. Lengthen the right leg out. Do it 2 more times. Squeeze, bring it in. And lengthen out. 1 more time. Squeeze, bring it in. And lengthen the leg out and bring it back down. Second side. Left leg reaches back. Start by floating the leg up. Find your neutral spine. Never skip that foundational moment. It's so helpful. Bend the left knee. Squeeze the heel in. Feel your hamstring, your glute all start to warm up, your abs. Lengthen the leg out. 2 more times. Exhale, bend the knee. Squeeze the heel in towards your bum. And lengthen out. 1 more time. You should be building up a little bit of heat by now, hopefully. Squeezing that heel in. And lengthen back out. And bend the knee, bring it back down. Good. Come off our wrist for a second. Point the toes back, walk yourself back, hips over your ankles. Just reach the arms out in front, move through those wrists for a moment, give them a little bit of a break here. Okay, we're gonna come up kneeling for a second. Hands together, right at the center of the chest. If you don't like your hands in prayer, you can just cross your hands over your heart, whatever works. We're just trying to bring our arms in towards our center of gravity here. So I'm going to take both feet. I'm pressing the tops of my feet into the earth, and I'm starting to feel what it feels like to lengthen up on top of my knees. So we talked before about sitting and feeling that sense of lengthening from your waist, from your hips up. Now we're lengthening from our knees up through the rest of the body. So we're slowly stacking. So as I'm here, I again want to start at my ribs. I want to make sure I'm not buckling my ribs forward to try to be up here. So my abs are engaged, gently draw my ribs in. As you do that, you might notice your hips are like, I want to go backwards now. So this is that balance that we want to start to find is, can I keep my abs on and can I open my hips at the same time by using my glutes? So take a moment to just sort of play with this. Can you bring those ribs in and the hips forward here? And then hands are heart center or hands crossed, whatever works for you in your practice. Tops of the feet press into the earth. I'm going to fold at my hips. So I'm not rounding my back. I'm going to fold right at my hips and think about sitting my butt back towards my heels, keeping the spine in the same position. So it just leans forward, but it doesn't round, okay? And then press back upright. So I'm practicing this hinging motion in my hips. The upper body is going to fold down with me. And then my glutes are responsible for pressing me back up. Let's do this a few more times. So we're going to come back and lift up. And your breath can be whatever feels good to you. I'm not married to inhale and exhale with these. And I can see arguments for both breathing patterns. So just make sure you're not holding your breath. Let's go 4 more times. Make sure that this isn't turning into a hinge at your waist, that you're keeping that relationship between the hips and the ribs consistent. That doesn't change. You should be feeling your quads and or your glutes, maybe both, maybe one or the other. Just depends on where you're strong coming into this. But they're really working to help control this. The deeper you go, the more quad you're going to get, but that's also about the comfort of your knees. 1 more time. If you know me at all, you know I'm really terrible at counting. But I promise this is the last one. All right, all the way up, hold it here. Oh, take a breath. Hopefully that was a lot of work for the quads and the glutes. Now we're going to come back down onto our hands. They got a nice rest. We're going to come back to what we were doing before with that leg. So I'm going to take my right leg back. I'm going to lift it up the same height as the rest of me. Now, my abs are nice and strong because we just did all that hinging work. Bend your knee. Now, I'm doing a circle with my thigh, my right leg. It's going to come down, in, and up. Out to the side, down, in, and up. So I'm imagining that I'm drawing a big circle with my right knee. And that really helps me find this. Make sure the spine is staying long. You're not getting to twist or fold at those ribs. The abs are working as much as anything else. Also, make sure that you're not leaning to the left. So that left outer hip has to do a lot of work to stabilize you and keep you centered. You should really be feeling some work on that right leg. Let's go the other direction. Down, out to the side, lift back and in. For most of us, this is the harder direction. That's okay. Whew. Keep breathing. 3 more. And 2. You guys got this. And 1. And bring it down. Shimmy those hips side to side for a second. Okay, let's do our second side. Left leg comes back behind. Lift the leg, float it up. Make sure your abs are engaged, neutral spine, bend the left knee. And then we're going to start by taking the knee down, out, up and in. Down, out, up and in. Finding that circle with the left knee now. Feeling the abs have to work to stabilize the ribs. Outer right hip having to work to stabilize, well, everything. Both of those arms are engaged. Neck is long. Make sure your chin isn't falling to the floor. Amazing how many places we can start to just let go of stuff, right? 2 more here. Hopefully you're feeling some work. Okay, let's reverse it. Leg goes out, down, in, and up. Out, down, in, and up. Feeling glutes, hamstrings, supporting leg, abs. Full body workout here. Full body. We got 3 more this direction. 2. And 1. And bring that knee down. Good. Come back onto your knees. Move through those wrists again. Give them a break for a second. Now we're going to do one more thing with our kneeling pose. So we're going to come up into kneeling. Coming up to that same position we were in before, we want to be long through the front of our hips, and this time we're not going to fold. So now we're going to practice hinging at the knees. I'm long through my spine from my knees all the way up to the top of my head. For this one, I like to put my hands on my tummy. So I'm going to put my thumbs on the bottom of my ribs and my pinkies on the top of my hips. And that's going to help me know that I'm not doing all sorts of crazy wobbly stuff at my waist. Okay? So from here, up nice and tall, press into the tops of your feet. Feel your abs and glutes engage as you press the tops of the feet into the earth. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hinge at our knees and lean straight back. Woo! It's like a version of plank. And then come back up. But it's like a really good quad version of plank, right? So I'm leaning back. Now, if you get any kind of pain in your lower back here, just skip this exercise and you can go back to the hinging, okay? If you're not getting any pain in your lower back, excellent. Keep those ribs and hips connected and then bring yourself back up. Ribs and hips connected as you lean back. Neck stays long and lift back up. You should be feeling a lot of work in your quads. And lift. 4 more, either the full lean or you're doing your hip hinges. 3 more. If you're feeling good and you want just a little work for these last 2, try reaching your arms up towards the sky. Oh, so much fun. And up. 1 more, lean it back. And lift it up. Whew. Bring your hands to the floor. All right, let's tuck the toes into the earth. Lift the hips up and back. Stretch out the back of those legs for a moment. Get a nice hamstring stretch in down dog. So it doesn't matter that the knees can be totally straight here. It's more important that we're finding that fold at the hips and lengthening through the back. My heels don't touch the ground. I don't think they ever will touch the ground. It doesn't matter. If your heels do touch the ground, that's fine too. Okay, take a big breath. We're going to walk the hands back to the feet. And then press the feet into the floor and roll the spine up to standing. All right, we're going to do a little bit of work now to start building up some strength in our outer hips to help us with balance. So I want you guys to notice where you're starting from before we get into it. Go ahead and move your mat out of the way, your blanket, if you've been using it. You probably won't need it. I'm still going to leave my blocks where they are because I'm not done with them yet. So before I move on to my work for my outer hips, I want to check in and see what my balance feels like where I'm starting from today. So just standing up tall, I want you to start to think about your right leg is going to lift up like you're going to step up onto a stair, okay? So if I imagine I'm going to lift my foot up to put it up on a step, that's all I'm doing. And what I want to notice as I do that is what happens to my balance overall. So the big thing I want you guys to watch for today is what happens at your hips. Do they drop? So do you get this kind of a thing that happens when you lift your leg? This is you losing that support on your standing side, right? You can see how I start falling over almost instantly. So notice what happens to your hips. Can you push down into that standing side and lift the free leg up? What does it feel like on your foot? What does it feel like in your hips, in your back, in your neck and shoulders, right? It goes all the way up. You're one body. Try the other side. So I'm going to stand on my right foot. I'm going to lift my left foot up as I'm going to step up onto the next step. Notice what this side feels like. We're really watching for that hip drop. And you'll notice as soon as I drop my hips, right? Like my balance is just gone. So that ability to get your femur where it needs to be under your pelvis is super important for being able to balance and be upright. So this is really our focus today in terms of balancing on one leg, okay? So that's just to get an idea where we're starting. We're going to come back down to the mat now. We're going to do a little bit more work through the outside of our hips. So however you want to get down into a comfortable seat. We're going to sit with our left hip on the floor and our left knee on the floor and our left foot on the floor. Left hand also on the floor, approximately equal with my knees. So if I look down right now, I've got a little bit of a V shape from my left hand to my hip and then out to my right knee. And then it zigzags back at my feet. If my feet are out here, I can't go anywhere. So I really want to make sure those feet are kind of pulled back towards my pelvis so they don't get in my way. Take your right hand, reach it around to the left side of your rib cage. So let's talk about the waist for just a second here. If I'm in this place and I sag, I fall into my shoulder. This is really open, right? And I'm really hanging on the joints of my arms right now. I'm really sort of using my bones as a rigid lever to just hold me up here. But what I want to do is I want to use my muscles to support me rather than locking out all my joints. So I'm going to take my ribs with my left hand and I'm going to gently draw them up away from my left hand. Like I'm creating space between that left thumb pad and the bottom middle of my rib cage. Just do that a couple times. Let your ribs sink and then activate and draw your ribs away from your hand. So I'm both thinking about pushing my hand into the floor and pulling my ribs up. My right hand is here just to help me feel what's happening in my ribs. So it's not really doing anything. They're just increasing my brain's connection to the left side of my rib cage. Okay? One more time. Pull those ribs in. Now notice when you pull your ribs in that now both sides of your waist are long. I'm just going to move my right arm out of the way for a second. So when I fall into this position, my top side, my right side gets really short and my left side gets really stretched out. I want to find this place here where I feel like my left and right sides are both nice and long and even. And I'm going to try to keep that. So I'm going to keep my left hand on the floor, right hand to the hips. And I'm just going to start by pressing my knees down and floating my hips forward to come into a half side plank, okay? Now I'm going to fold at my hips. I want to come back into that zigzag position so my pelvis has to reach back towards my heels as I come down. Try to keep your right hand on your hips, lift up, long through the top waist and the bottom waist. And then fold at the hips and bring it back into that zigzag. Still keep that length in both sides of the body, okay? Pressing up and floating the hips back. Let's do it a couple more times. Do this with your own breath. So if my pace is not quite the pace that works for you, feel free to change it. Think about the neck being long, so I'm really pushing my left hand down and my left knee into the floor. If I don't engage my left knee into the floor, I'm not going to get support from my hip. My arm's going to feel like it has to do all the work. I want that hip. My hip is stronger than my arms, right? So I really want to make sure that's helping me. One more time. Bring it up. Let's stay here. Length through both sides of the body. Can you reach your right arm up? Hold for the challenge. We're going to stay here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hand back down. Fold at your hips. Bring it down. Good. Let's do our second side. All right. So I'm on my second side. I've got my right side on the ground. Right hand down, hip down, knee and foot. Again, I'm thinking about my zigzag, my V in the front here, and then my feet folded tight behind me so that I'm going to have some room to lift. Let's start by exploring that bottom side. So my left hand comes onto my right ribs. I'm going to lower those ribs down to my right hand, sort of sinking, sagging, feeling that falling sense, like you're supporting yourself by locking out this arm. And then draw the ribs away from the right hand. Feel that space and feel the strength in the arm. And maybe you can even feel those obliques starting to engage. Release the ribs down. And then draw it up. Couple more times. Starting to feel that sense of creating length in both sides. So as I draw those ribs in, helps me open up my top side. One more. And draw the ribs in. Good. Now bring that left hand onto your left hip. We're going to try to keep those ribs nice and long, the waist long on both sides. Press into your right hand. Float the hips forward and up. And then fold the hips, bring them down. Okay? Really make sure that right knee pushes into the floor too, right? We want the hips. They're stronger than our arms. And then fold, bring it down. Keep going. Again, feeling work everywhere here, right? So it's in my arms, it's in my legs, it's in my core. The whole body is part of this. And back. We've got 3 more. Lift it up. Again, if your pace is different than mine, that's totally fine. And down. May also have to do with the music you're listening to. And lift. And lower. One more time. Lift it up. Stay here. Here's our challenge. Lift the left arm up to the sky. Hold both sides of the body long, staying for 10, 9, 8, 7. Keep space through that rib cage on the bottom, moving the ribs away from the hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the hips down. Bring the arm down. Nice, you guys. Okay. Everything should be feeling pretty warm now. So we're going to move on from this and we're going to start to move a little bit with this, connecting these things and working into our balance. Turn yourself around, come up to standing however you want to get there. We're going to start off standing at the top of our mat. This is where those blocks are really going to come in handy. So I've got both blocks in front of me about 8 to 10 inches. Inhale, circle your arms up to the sky. Exhale, fold at your hips, roll your spine down, bring your hands to the blocks. We're not trying to get all the way to the floor yet. This is our first real forward fold of the day. So I'm going to press my heels into the floor, and I'm going to start to lean back. And I'm going to notice as I take my hips back that my feet grip. My toes want to lift, the tops of the feet get really active, and the front of the shins get really active, okay? Now I'm going to go forward. And I'm going to notice as I take my body weight, my hips towards my hands, my heels want to float and my toes get grippy. So it's not just that they're pressing down into the floor, it's that they're contracting sort of under, right? Come back so that the pelvis is more or less over the feet and just sort of find that shift now a couple times. Forward and back and feeling how as the weight moves over the center of the foot, the way the foot reacts changes. Now, if we want the best possible foundation for balancing, we want our feet to not be in either of these gripping states, right? We want the feet to feel like they can do what they need to do. So I'm going to come to where it feels like I'm not gripping forward or back. Hips are over my heels more or less, and I'm going to start to think about pushing my heels into the floor. And as I push my heels down, I'm thinking about lengthening my tailbone up a little bit. My knees are still bent, right? They're not totally straight. That's fine. I'm just trying to find a little bit of length. Now what I'm going to do is press my toes into the floor without shifting my hips at all. And what you should feel is between the heels and the toes pushing, that the legs just become very active. It feels like all the muscles become toned. This is that support that we want to have in our feet. So let's practice being stable on this for a moment. Inhale, lengthen your heart forward. Think about making a right angle at your hips. Long line through the spine, a little bit of work in the upper back. And as you keep that place of the feet, that energy, you might start to feel your legs really working, but also stretching at the same time. Now draw the bottom of your ribs in, round your back, roll forward, and let your head release towards the floor a bit. Maybe circle the head yes and no. Lengthen through your back for a moment. And then lengthen your heart forward again. We're going to stay here for a minute. We're going to reach the right leg back, just so my toes are on the ground. So it's not very far. My left leg stayed where it was, my hips stayed where they were. Now I'm going to keep pushing that left leg to the floor, flex my right foot, and I'm going to start to float the right leg up. This is exactly like what we did before when we were on our hands and knees, okay? So you've already done this. It's just harder now. Feel how much work that left leg has to do. Notice if it starts to grip, and see if you can find that center of balance where you're not gripping your toes or your shin, and you're pressing the heels and toes all into the floor. And then notice if your right hip wants to spin up too much towards the sky or drop down too much towards the floor. See if you can find some place where your pelvis feels balanced from left to right. And then lastly, notice your waist. Are you side bending one way or the other way? Can you find length through both sides of your waist? One more breath. Now, step your right foot to the back of your mat by bending your left knee. Walk the blocks back. You can step your left foot forward if you have a little bit more space. Okay, and find a nice long lunge stance here. So I'm just going to start off by rocking forward and back. Using my blocks on either side of my left foot for a little bit of support here. And then I'm going to bring my upper body forward towards my toes, towards my left foot. I'm going to press my left heel and toes into the ground as though I was standing, even though I'm not. I'm keeping my left knee bent. I'm staying in my lunge. But now notice that that left thigh really starts to cook. It really starts to work a little bit. Feel how much stronger you feel, even though you're doing a lot more work. Now press into the hands, lift the heart. Think about that cow pose. Open the shoulders wide, little bit of length in the back. Use your left leg, press into the floor, push it away and send your hips back. Neither of my knees is totally straight, but I'm going to think cat stretch with my back. I'm lifting my belly button up, rounding my back. And then I'm going to bend my left knee, coming forward, heart lifts up. 2 more times. Exhale, press your left foot into the floor. As little weight as possible on those blocks. Cat stretch. And then bend the left knee, bringing the upper body forward. Cow pose. Again, try and keep as little weight as you can in those hands. 1 more time. Left leg pushes into the floor. Belly button lifts. Cat stretch. And then cow pose. Bend the left knee. Bring the heart forward and lift, still supporting with that left leg. And then lift the hips up. Take your right foot, step it forward. Both feet in front of you. Move the blocks forward again. Nod the chin, roll down. Press into both legs, roll the spine up. Reach the arms into the sky. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Just take a second in standing. Let's do all of that on our second side. Inhale, reach the arms to the sky. Fold, roll the spine down. Hands to the blocks, let the head hang. Move your feet back a little bit if your blocks are too close. And then shift your weight forward and back a couple times. And then stop where you feel your heels grounded, your pelvis centered. Press into the heels and then press into the toes. Feel the legs start to activate. Inhale, lengthen the heart forward. Now we're going to keep this length here. You're going to take your left foot this time and step it behind you. I'm keeping my right leg straight, so I'm not in a lunge yet. I'm just warming that right leg up for my single leg balance. So from here, I'm going to start to float the left leg up. Remember, this is the same thing we did kneeling before. Hands are on the blocks. My right foot is pressing down. You'll notice as soon as you lift that left leg up that things start to change in your right foot. So can you find that same support from the heel and the toes? Keeping the pelvis centered. Maybe you need to shift forward and back a little bit or side to side to sort of find where the sweet spot is. And then make sure that left hip isn't dropping or lifting. Pelvis should feel like it's parallel to the floor. And then both sides of the waist, make sure you're not side bending one way or the other. Try to keep both sides of your waist long. If you're feeling that outer right hip cook, great. That's the muscle that we want to help support us in our single leg balance, okay? 1 more breath here. Now let's walk the blocks back, step the left foot back, find your nice long lunge. So I'm going to take my blocks to either side of my right foot, and I'm just going to start off rocking forward and back. Taking this opportunity to get a nice stretch through that left thigh, calf, and then bring the upper body forward. Hold it here. Start to find that support in your right leg. So right heel and toes pushing into the floor. The more I push with this right leg, the less work my hands have to do. I want to feel that quad start to take all of the effort, all of the support. Keep your pelvis squared. Now think about lifting your chest. Maybe your hips drop a little bit more to help you do it. Think cow pose. Heart up, but the neck is long. And then press into your right foot to send your hips back. Belly button lifts. Think cat pose as you draw your belly button in and spine rounds. Exhale, bend the right knee. Keep all of that effort in your right leg. Try not to let your arms start to slow you down. Lift the chest up. Press with the right leg. Hands as easy as possible, making your quad have all the fun. And then bend into the right knee. Slowly controlling yourself forward. Lift the heart up. Last time, exhale, press with the right leg. Belly button lifts around the back. Inhale, bend the right knee. Lift the heart up. Feel that right leg really cooking. And then lift up. Step the left foot forward. Move the blocks back in front of you. Round the spine down. Head towards the floor. And then roll up, pressing through both legs, coming up to standing. Reach the arms up to the sky. Hands down to heart center. Take a moment to rest. Okay, we're going to add on to that now a little bit. So inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Fold, roll the spine down. Hands to the blocks or to the floor if you're ready for that now. Inhale, lengthen the heart forward, halfway lift. Exhale, round the spine down. Now we're going to keep the blocks here. I'm going to lengthen my heart forward again and hold it. Right away, take that right leg up. Lift it high. Find that support. Through your left leg, find your center of balance. Now we're going to think cat stretch. My belly button's going to round. And as I round and lift my belly button, my right leg will come down a bit. That's okay. Now I'm going to bend my left knee like it's coming into chair pose or a lunge. And I'm going to bend my right knee and curl it tight into my chest. So my left foot's on the ground, my right knee is up into the chest. Now I'm going to lengthen back out from there. Press your left leg straight, reach your right leg back. Exhale, bend the left knee, pull the right knee into the chest, cat stretch. 2 more like that. Inhale, nice long spine, neutral spine, reach the right leg back. Exhale, bend the left knee, pull the right knee into the chest, cat stretch. 1 more time. Your left leg should be working super duper hard. Exhale, pull that right knee into the chest. Hold it here. Keep your knee there. See if you can start to take your hands away from the blocks and keep everything else where you are. Your left leg is going to work really hard. So much fun. 1 more breath. Hands down. Step your right foot back. Walk the blocks back. Find your lunge. Inhale, lift your heart. Lower the hips. Exhale, press with that left leg. Cat stretch, pull it back. 1 more time. Inhale, bend the left knee. Heart lifts. Exhale, belly button in. Cat stretch, pull it back. Now, keep the left block up against the left side of your foot. Open your right toes to the side. And reach your right arm up. See if you can find that fold more at the left hip so that it's not happening at your waist. It's not a rainbow, right? It's an angle. It's a fold at that left hip. 1 more breath here. And bring the left hand back down. Rotate yourself forward. Step the right foot forward. Blocks in front of you. Reposition however you need to. Fold to the floor. And then roll the spine up to standing. Whew. Inhale, reach the arms up. Hands down to the chest. Feel that afterburn on the left side. It did some work, right? Let's do the other side. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, fold, nod the chin, roll it down, head towards the floor. Inhale, lengthen your heart forward, hands to blocks or the floor, your legs, whatever works. Exhale, drop it down. One more time. Inhale, lengthen the spine to neutral. Make sure your abs are there to support your ribs. Now, left leg is going to lift up and back. Find that support on your right side. Find your center. Find your long line. Once you feel like you found it, we're going to think cat stretch with the back. Belly button draws up. My left leg will lower a little bit as I do that, but it's not on the floor. Now I'm going to bend that right knee. Let it come down a little bit like I'm going to go into a lunge, and then pull the left knee, this time tight into the chest. Find that support on your right leg. Feel your abs helping you. And then lengthen back out. My right leg goes straight, my left leg goes straight, and my spine comes long. Exhale, belly button lifts, cat pose, bend the right knee. Pull the left knee into the chest. Inhale, lengthen back out. All of your limbs and your spine lengthen. Exhale, cat stretch, right knee bends, left knee to the chest. Lengthen back out, nice and long through both legs. You've got one more. Bend the right knee, cat stretch, pull the left knee in. Oh, so much fun on that right leg. Lengthen the left and right legs out, spine long. Walk the blocks back, lower the left leg down. Whew. Find your lunge. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, press with your right leg, cat stretch, push back. Inhale, bend the right knee, lift the heart. Exhale, press with the right leg, cat stretch, pull back. Now go into triangle pose on the other side. So my left toes are going to spin open towards my back wall. My right hand stays on the right block, and the left arm lifts up. Again, really thinking about that fold at the right hip so that I'm not doing a rainbow or side bend. Both of my sides are long like we practiced earlier, and the fold comes out of my hips. Bring the left hand back down, roll your spine forward, step the left foot forward, blocks out in front, nod the chin, hang the head down. Inhale, roll up through the spine, reach the arms nice and long to the sky. Hands come down to heart center. Okay, so we're gonna do one last challenge flow. Start up standing nice and tall. Inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Exhale, fold at the hips. Bring the upper body down, let the head hang heavy towards the floor again. Inhale, hands to blocks, lengthen the heart out. Exhale, reach your right leg back. Find that nice, strong standing pose that you found before. Right away, we're going to take it into a lunge. I'm going to leave my blocks where they are this time. So it's a lunge, and my arms come up to the sky. Lifting the chest tall, staying up on the right toes, feeling that left foot grounding into the floor. And then bring the upper body back down, hands to the blocks. Lift the back leg up. Same thing again. Bend the left knee, float back, lift up. Exhale, float forward. So I'm bringing my body over my left foot and then pressing my left leg into the floor to lift the right leg up. Take a breath. One more time. Bend the left knee, right leg comes back, float the arms up. Exhale, lean forward into the left leg, press with the left leg to come up tall. Hands down. Take a breath. Now we're going to add on to that. Float back, bend the left knee, right foot comes down, reach the arms up. Press into your left foot. Start off by thinking about a little tiny cat. Pull your abs in. Now that right knee, it wants to come in. I want to go forward at the same time. So this is a combination of the two things we've been working on. I'm going to find my core. I'm going to lean forward, press into that left foot, and then I'm going to come right up to standing. Whew. So the right knee is trying to come towards the chest and the left foot is pressing down. Feel all that support through the outer left hip, through the whole left leg, finding that same sense with that left foot of being balanced between the heels and the toes. Long through both sides of your waist. Now you're going to reach that right leg back, bring the hands down, find your nice long line. We're going to do that one more time. I'm going to lower back, reach the arms up. Take a breath. Lean forward a bit, pull your abs in, press with your left leg and bring your right knee into your chest. Take a breath. Reach the right leg back, hands to the blocks, long line. Twice doesn't feel like enough, does it? Let's do it 3 times. Bend the left knee, bring the right leg down, reach the arms up. Nice long lunge. Lean forward, press into that left foot, lift up, right knee up towards the chest. Hold for a breath. And then just set the right leg down. Whew, fun. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, nod the chin, roll the spine down, release towards the feet. Inhale, lengthen the heart forward. Exhale to round. Inhale, lengthen the heart forward. Bring the left leg up. Find the floating, nice long line here through the body. Support through that right leg. Now bend the right knee. Set the left toes back. Leave the blocks there. Reach the arms up. Finding your lunge with the arms towards the sky. And then start to lean into the right leg. Hands to the blocks. Press with the right. Lift the left. 2 more times like that. Bend the right knee. Lower back to your lunge. Reach the arms up. Big breath. Start to lean forward. Find that balance over your right foot here. Press with your right leg. Lift the left. 1 more of these. Bend the right knee. Set the left foot back. Reach the arms up. And then start to lean forward into the right leg. Lift it up. Left leg comes up. Take a breath. All right, now we've got our super fun standing that we're going to do. So we're going to lower back down to that lunge again. Reach the arms up. Start to lean forward. Find that balance over your right foot. And then press with the right to bring the left knee up towards the chest. Hold. And lengthen that left leg back. Hands to the blocks. Bend the right knee. Come down. Find your lunge. Lean forward a little bit, find that balance in the right leg, press it to the floor, bring your left knee up. Reach the left leg back, pivot at the front of the right hip, and then bend the right knee, lower the left leg to the floor, reach the arms up. Last time, lean forward a bit, press into that right foot, bring the left knee up to the chest. Woo, it gets harder as we go. And lengthen that left leg to the floor. Release the arms. Inhale, circle the arms to the sky. Exhale, nod the chin. Roll the spine down, release towards the feet for a moment. Inhale, lengthen the chest forward. Exhale, drop the head. Maybe wrap the hands around the back of the legs. Give them a hug here for a moment. And then roll the spine back up to standing. So we've done all this work, and a lot of times it feels hard to do, and it feels like maybe we're unsuccessful if we're falling all over the place. But let's not measure success that way. So instead, what I want you to do is come to standing. Go back to what we did before of imagining you're going to step your foot up onto a step. So I'm going to use my left leg as my stability first, and I'm going to imagine stepping my right leg up. And just notice now, if the pelvis stays more stable, if the waist stays more long, and if you're a little bit more balanced. If any of those things are true, then everything you just did was successful. Okay, let's try the other side. Standing on my right, floating my left leg up as though I'm going to step on a stair, and feeling that I'm a little bit more balanced. I'm a little bit closer to being comfortable here. And bring the left foot down. Good. Okay, let's nod the chin, roll the spine down. Bring the hands to the floor, step back, find a nice long down dog for a moment. Maybe you feel a little bit more space in the legs or the back here. And then bend the knees, bring them to the floor. Go ahead and move the blocks out of your way. Take the knees wide and drop yourself down into child's pose. Allow your forehead to rest on the mat if that's comfortable. If that's not, you can always stack the hands, maybe fists on top of each other, whatever you need to feel supported here. And then lifting your chest, walking your chest over to the right, bringing the arms out from the right side. And through center, and take the arms over to the left. Kind of lengthening out the opposite side of the body. Bring yourself back to center. And bring yourself back up to sitting. Bring the legs into a comfortable cross, wherever that is for you. Inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. Exhale, bring your hands down to heart center. Taking a moment here to end our practice by finishing where we started. Noticing what feels different. Remembering that an ideal practice is not about being able to do each pose perfectly. It's about trying. It's about noticing that the practice of our exercises helps us get stronger, helps us feel better, not the perfect doing of them, just the practice of them. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me on this journey. Namaste. I hope you had a wonderful class. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you laughed a little bit here and there, and I hope you had as much fun as I did getting your legs a little bit stronger today. Please feel free to follow, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Like I said, this is free. This is for the community, for whoever feels like they would benefit from it. But if you would like to support the creation of these videos, check out the Patreon link. And otherwise, know that there's always live class you can come to as well. So live class is a great place to get feedback on these things, to ask questions about it. So anyway, I hope you had a great time. Thank you so much for coming today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.